Well, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining this Facebook Live. I wanted to share something with you that I wanted to do last week, and I think I'm set to do it today. A couple of weeks ago, I talked to you about using Pranic psychotherapy and to help alleviate and overcome BDD. And I was explaining it to you, and I know a lot of you may not really understand what energy healing is and how that all works, even though I explain it. But sometimes some of us are visual and we get a better grasp of something when we're explaining it while watching a video or having some slides to help you along with understanding what I was talking about. I know for me, I'm a visual person, and when I see something visually, I grasp it better. So I prepared something here that I want to share with you on what pranic psychotherapy is. To be honest with you, this was what really helped me overcome my BDD. It's just was something that just pushed me over the edge to realize that this is something that was able to help me alleviate the negative thoughts about myself and some of the fears and the phobias that I've had. I mentioned to you that I do pranic psychotherapy, and I had a client who was afraid to go on the Disneyland rides, and after a couple of sessions, he's now thrilled and he goes every weekend. So that's a case where he had a fear and a phobia. I know with BDD, some of the things we have are fears and phobias that come from the trauma from our childhood and that prolong today. So I want to share with you these slides so you get a better understanding of what that is. And perhaps you'll be interested in learning more about it. So let me share this slide with you. Okay, if you hold on one moment. Okay. Okay. So again, it's pranic psychotherapy and how it's different from traditional therapy. And we'll go through this and share this with you. So pranic, pranic healing, as I've shared with you in the past about removing dirty energy from our aura and our chakras, and pranic psychotherapy was created by Grandmaster Choa Koksui. And you may have heard his name when I was sharing with you the meditation on Twin Hearts, because we go through an opening prayer and an invocation, and I mention his name. So Grandmaster Choa Koksui is the modern founder of pranic healing and pranic psychotherapy. You see, he was a chemical engineer and a very successful businessman and a very big philanthropist. But as a teenager, he was very interested in esoteric studies. And so he learned what energy was and how it worked with the body to help heal the body and help heal the emotions and our mental thoughts. And he studied different techniques and he came up with pranic healing. And pranic healing has been used all around the world for many, many years. He's written over 45 books, actually 30 books, and it's been translated into different languages all around the world. And there's 120 different healing clinics and facilities all around the world where people use pranic healing. So, as I mentioned to you in the past, it's not meant to replace traditional psychotherapy. It's an addition to. It can be used separately, but we're not telling people, okay, stop your traditional therapy because this is the only thing that you can do. You can do both, or you can do one or the other. But with, as I mentioned, with traditional psychotherapy, it's really great because you can verbalize all the issues you have and bring up what has been buried for so many years, all the trauma, and it's very cathartic for the patient to talk about it. But what happens is that a lot of these energies, because these are actually energies, everything is energies, get stuck in our system. It gets stuck in our aura and in our chakras. And even though these energies are being moved around, they're not being completely removed. You see, with pranic psychotherapy, we use extraction techniques, the very advanced extraction techniques using energy to be able to remove the fears and the phobias. So if you see my hand, if you watch me here I'm in the corner here, we're actually pulling out, okay, by using some techniques, we're pulling it out of the aura and we're pulling it out of our chakras, these negative energies. So these negative energies that get stuck in the aura and the chakras, they affect us and they become phobias and fears and compulsions. And with pranic psychotherapy, these compulsions and fears and phobias and even addictions can be alleviated in a short period of time. So these negative energies, as you can see, get stuck in the aura and also in the chakras. And you can see the clean aura on the left and then the dirty aura on the right. All these things are floating around in the chakras. And then what they do is as they sit there, they start to influence us, because the more we put focus on the fear or on our negative thoughts, those tend to grow. And then they start to populate in our aura. You see the negative emotions and traumatic experiences. They're actually essential negative thought forms. That's what you see here in the dirty aura, and emotional energies that get lodged in here. So as I mentioned, we use these extraction techniques, as I showed you with over here. We're pulling it out. We use electric violet light, not physically, but energetically. I project, or a pranic psychotherapist can project electric violet light, as you can see on the left-hand side, which disintegrates these negative energies that are populating in our aura and in our chakras. It's non-invasive. It's a non-touch therapy. We don't even touch the person. We can even do this at a distance. I know many people, including myself, have worked on people all over the world while I am sitting in my healing space, and somebody else is in another country, and it actually works, because what we're doing is we're not actually working on the physical body, we're working on the energy field. And the energy field that surrounds the body is an exact blueprint of the physical body. So whatever happens in the energy field of the person, the aura, will affect the physical body. It will affect our emotions, will affect our negative thinking patterns. Traumatic experiences that have been lodged in there can be removed and pulled out of the system so that the healing process can happen a lot quicker. Okay. So, as we know, a lot of our programming and our negative beliefs about ourselves comes from our childhood experiences, the negative words that have been instilled in us, the fighting that may go on between parents in a household. Children are affected by that. Children are so young that they don't understand. They start to believe that the fighting is because of them. It becomes very traumatic for a child. So with this pranic psychotherapy, we are able to purge and pull out the negative programming that has happened in childhood, which can be holding you back from success, a happy life, being able to believe that you have self-worth, to believe that we are loving, that we can love ourselves, so that we can move along in our life and have a happy and healthy life, happy and successful life. So that's another wonderful thing that pranic psychotherapy can do. So, as I talked about, thinking and feeling produce these psychic beings, which are called thought forms or thought entities. So I mentioned this to you last week, and I said, it's not a huge monster that's sitting there. you see on the left-hand side, these are what these entities look like, these negative thought forms, okay? And this is what populates in our aura and our chakras, which I showed you a little bit earlier on the other slide, what a dirty aura looks like. So this is what they look like, what anger looks like, what addiction looks like, what selfishness or greed or worry can look like, or negative thoughts. So as you continue to have these negative thoughts, they start to grow, as I mentioned, because where you put your focus, that's where the energy flows. So if you're constantly thinking you're a bad person, that's going to continue to grow. If you're constantly angry, that's going to grow. These little thought entities or thought forms, as you see on the left, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so they start to influence you. But if we extract them, they can't affect you any longer. Now, over time, your thoughts will become less and less negative. Over time, you'll start to see that, okay, well, maybe I can accept this body part. I don't have to love it or hate it. This is part of the body neutrality that I've talked about. So as we remove these, it's easier to come to body neutrality, and then hopefully eventually actually start to even love that part of yourself. So a traumatic experience may produce repeated thoughts of fear and poor self-esteem, insecurity, futility, or indifference. So, as I just mentioned, if you keep thinking about these for a prolonged period of time, it's going to produce these entities, and that will have strong inhibiting effects. So you start to feel even more less worthy. You feel like you can't do something. You're not good enough. I'll always make a mistake. But if we start to remove these, you'll start to feel a sense of relief. And you start to feel like, okay, well, maybe I can shift my focus. We're so caught up in the negative thinking that we believe that we can't do anything, that we're so bad. But as we remove these negative feelings and these negative thoughts out of the chakras and the aura, it starts to become easier. And you can start to feel a shift in your life. So, phobias and obsessions and compulsions are these thought entities that get lodged in the solar plexus and the crown chakra. So here's a picture of the 11 chakras that I have talked about in the past, okay? So the crown chakra at the top of your head. The solar plexus is in that soft spot in between the rib cage. So these are the 11 chakras that get affected. Depending on what we're dealing with, different chakras are affected. Negative thinking patterns or negative thoughts about ourselves are in the crown and in the ajna, which is right in between the eyebrows, okay, and in our throat where we hold on to a lot of worry. So that's just an example of where these energies and these negative entities get stuck, and we work on these chakras to remove them. I've had many sessions on myself, and I've worked with many people where they feel so different after a session. They feel much more relaxed. They feel lighter. They feel like, oh, I can take a deep breath. A lot of us are so caught up in the fear that it's hard to breathe. We breathe very shallow. But once a session is over, they feel more relaxed. And they can breathe, take a deep breath. And finally, what happens after a session? We replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmation. So affirmations are great on their own, and they do work. But here's an example, and I've mentioned this before. You have a dirty cup, okay, that was filled with coffee, and you drank from it. And you pick up that dirty cup, and now you're putting in fresh coffee. Do you really want to do that? Okay? So you're now putting in clean coffee into dirty. So what's great about pranic healing and pranic psychotherapy is that we're removing all that dirty energy and putting in clean energy, clean, fresh coffee. Same with the positive affirmations. You're pulling out the dirty negative thoughts, negative emotions, and now you can put in the clean, positive affirmations that will populate your energy field, and you're more likely to take in the affirmations and they become more real for you at a quicker pace. So I wanted to share this with you so you get a better understanding of what that is. I hope that was helpful. Pranic psychotherapy is wonderful, like I said, because I've used it. If you're interested in learning more about it and want to hear more about it, you can always DM me. I can talk to you about it. If you want to know about somebody in your area, I can find somebody in your area that you can talk to. I do want to say that pranic psychotherapy is not something that you do one session and then everything is good. Depending on how deeply ingrained your negative emotions or your negative thoughts are about yourself, it may take a series. I've worked with people and successfully worked with them, and it's taken 3 months for them to be able to move on a path of better health, better thoughts, and actually starting to like themselves and remove those fears and phobias that we have about ourselves that have been ingrained since childhood. I'm not really here to promote myself. I just want to be able to share this with you so you have another alternative to help you. I did talk about that I am a pranic psychotherapist because I want you to know that I've had experience with people with BDD and they have overcome it. But this is not really about promoting me. It's just to share so you know that there's something else out there that can help you. I'm more than happy to talk with you if you want to hear more about it. And I hope this was helpful. This is a short session today, but there you have it. All right, everybody. Peace and love, happiness to all of you, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.